Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to an interesting episode of Maritime Matters, where we explore the waves shaping the future of global shipping and logistics. I'm your host, Deepika Upadhyay, and today we are setting anchor at the southern tip of India in Vizhinjam, Kerala, home to a game changing development, Vizhinjam International Seaport. Vizhinjam Port or it is Vizhinjam. Honestly, I need a shipping manual just to pronounce it. This isn't just another port. It's India's first deep water container transshipment terminal operated by Adani and SEZ under a unique public private partnership model. It's poised to shift the regional balance in global shipping and reduce India's reliance on foreign transshipment hubs. To unpack what this means for trade, logistics, and broader economy, I'm joined by Dr. Naresh Bana, an international PPP advisor who would sail us through the future of Indian maritime trade. Dr. Bana, let's start with the basics. What makes Vizhinjam so strategically significant compared to other Indian ports?
Deepika ji, as you mentioned, Vizhinjam is located south of Thiruvananthapuram, the capital city of Kerala state in India, and it enjoys unique geographical, logistical, and infrastructural advantages. It is located closest to the international shipping lanes, which are just passing outside the Indian territorial waters, that is just about 10 to 12 nautical miles from the port location. Secondly, Vizhinjam is India's first deep water all-weather port having more than 20 meters depth that allows it to accommodate ultra-large container vessels, which is in comparison to other ports in India, that is Jawaharlal Nehru Port, Cochin Port, or Chennai Port, is much uh, better because they require constant dredging. Now you talked about transshipment port, and let me just explain what transshipment means here for a normal viewer. Transshipment is like what you have seen the postal system. There is a central post office where all parcels and mails arrive, and then they are redirected to various destinations and locations. Similarly, the transshipment port may not be the origin or destination of any container, but it does the sorting from bigger ships to smaller containers going from one direction to other. So that sorting happens at this port, and whatever is to come to India can come to India directly. Earlier, almost 75% of India's container traffic was going to Singapore, Port Klang, or Colombo Port, and then coming to India. So this is going to be a game changer.
Well, it's India's only deep water port with natural depth and direct access to international shipping lanes. Dr. Bana, it's fascinating that Vizhinjam lies just 10 nautical miles of one of the world's busiest east west shipping routes. Dr. Bana, could you elaborate on how this benefits shipping lines?
See, the east-west shipping lanes, which are, as I mentioned, are passing right next to Indian territorial water limit, which is 12 nautical miles from the coastline. And from the far edge of the port, Vizhinjam, it will be about 10 nautical miles. So a ship which is moving on the international shipping lane really doesn't have to take any extra detour. That means zero detour. And zero detour means no extra fuel and no extra time. And it can go through the transshipment and continue the journey what it has to uh, take on subsequently. So this is the major advantage. And then there's a huge capacity at Vizhinjam which allows faster turnaround. Faster turnaround means lesser costs. Costs in terms of fuel, in terms of crew, in terms of other associated logistics. So overall, it is going to be very economical for large ships to call on Vizhinjam and undertake transshipment on better profits.
Its proximity drastically cuts transit time, bunker costs, and turnaround delays for global carrier. That's great. Dr. Bana, let's talk infrastructure. I read that Vizhinjam is home to India's tallest STS cranes and will even host ultra large container ships. What kind of capacity are we talking about here?
Very rightly asked. You must have seen the pictures. There are tall gantry like structures and cranes in blue color visible even from aerial photograph. Now, STS stands for ship to shore. So the containers have to be picked up while the ship is berthed and then moved inwards and then unloaded on the container carriers or on the systems which are moving inside. For that, these STS which have been put up at Vizhinjam have 72 meters reach. That means they can extend 72 meters into the sea to pick up the containers from on top of the container carriers, equivalent to almost 22 containers kept side by side. And then it has a height of 74 meters. It can move the containers to height of 74 meters, which means like a 20-story building. And then the base of this, you can imagine, has a 35-meter rail width, rail gauge, it's called. So together, it can pick up 65 metric tons in one go. That is humongous. And with that kind of capacity and automation, it can really do very quick loading and unloading. And there are a number of them which have been erected there. So these are the giants at the sea. And for future, before I talk about future, currently it's already functional and with the current capacity, it has achieved a throughput of 1 million TEU already. And the TEU means 20 feet equivalent units. That is the unit for counting the container movement. And it has capacity to build up to 7.4 million TEUs, which will be almost 80% of India's total container traffic when it goes to full capacity. And as I mentioned, it can handle a ship which has 22 containers kept side by side. It has already demonstrated the capacity by berthing the ship MSC Turkey, which is 399.9 meter long and 61.3 meter wide, which was carrying 24,346 TEUs. So, as I mentioned, future is just bright for this port, and India is going to gain a lot once it comes to full capacity.
Well, you're completely right, sir. Well, Vision Sham marks a shift from dependency to self sufficiency in transshipment logistics. Dr. Bana, please tell us about the bidding process and the financing of this project.
Yes, I was waiting actually that being a PPP port, When will you ask this question? See, the bidding for this project had initial problems. There were many rounds of bidding, and there were many times it failed. Failures were for various reasons, including security clearance of the foreign companies. Ultimately, in 2015, Adani Ports and SEZ emerged winner, though they were single bidders, and the concession agreement was signed on 17th August 2015. The concession was for 40 years to be extended by another 20 years if certain parameters are met. But still, the political and other issues were there, which were well taken care. But then came the CAG audit, and there was an observation that some undue favors were granted, for which the then government, see, the earlier when the concession agreement was signed, it was the different government, and then during CAG's audit, the UDF government came in and they set up a judicial inquiry. And that judicial inquiry cleared the bidding process, and thereafter actually the work started and the financing was looked into. Being a port of this size, initially it was estimated to be costing about 7,525 crores, and accordingly a viability gap funding of 817.60 crore was agreed upon. And this VGF came to this project as a loan with a tripartite agreement between Department of Economic Affairs, Government of India, Kerala State, and the concessionaires. Subsequently, Kerala State and IDBI also organized another set of loan, which was 2,100 crores, and this project is now costing around 18,000 crore, but when it gets completed, the costing would be about 28,000 crores. Yes.
Structured under the public private partnership model, the project has attracted competitive global interest and robust funding. Dr. Bana, the port plans a significant railway tunnel, third longest in India, to link it with the national grid. How important is that kind of multimodal integration?
See, as far as hinterland connectivity is concerned, Indian ports have been having problems. Many of them do not have adequate road or rail connectivity. But in case of Vizhinjam, a, a very nice planning has been done, and this 10.9 kilometer tunnel which is planned is connecting this port to the railway line which is going from Thiruvananthapuram to Kanyakumari. And being a tunnel, it is not affected by rains, floods, or many other kind of impediments which can delay the traffic. So this is going to be a very versatile and reliable connect for this port to connect to the entire Indian railway system. In addition, you have the roads. So the connectivity part with the hinterland is going to be not only adequate, but I think more reliable and resilient.
Very true. It ensures seamless last mile cargo movement between sea and land, boosting logistics efficiency. For an environmental impact, deep ports usually come with heavy dredging. But Vizinsham seems to be an exception, Dr. Bana.
Yes, as far as Vizhinjam is concerned, it has a natural depth of 20 to 24 meters. When I say natural depth, it means the incoming water from various streams or all is not bringing that kind of sediments which make it prone to dredging. So no dredging required. And with that, the cost of operations is going to be substantially lower than as when we compare it with ports like JNPT or Cochin or Chennai port, which require regular dredging to accommodate higher draft ships. However, despite the claims of no dredging required, dredging was required for construction of the berths and construction of other marine structures. Then this construction also caused certain damage reportedly to the reef rocks and other marine life which was existing there. It is also alleged that the breakwater construction caused a lot of erosion on the coastline and to disturbance to other marine life. And because of that, there were certain representations and environmental concerns which were raised. But certainly, once the port becomes operational and the construction activity becomes minimal, the disturbance to marine life and to the environment will be almost negligible.
With a natural depth of 24 meters, Vizhinjam saves on dredging and protects marine ecology. Dr. Bana, with all this investment, rupees 28,867 crores in total, what's the long-term vision? Can Vizhinjam genuinely compete with global giants like Singapore or Dubai?
Yes, the long-term vision for Vizhinjam Port is to not only bring in the world-class facilities, but also increase the capacity to 7.2 million TEUs, and this would be giving a good challenge to the ports like Jebel Ali or the Singapore port or the Port Klang, which are currently attracting maximum traffic. Key to this vision is the transshipment capacity. And once the port comes to its capacity, the 75% of Indian traffic, container traffic, which goes to Singapore and Malaysia or to Dubai or Colombo, will be coming directly to Vizhinjam. And in addition to earning more than $200 million revenue per year, it would be providing uh, inherent advantages, which are strategic, technical, and logistical in nature. As I said earlier, it has inherent advantages of having 24-meter depth, proximity to international shipping lanes, and ability to handle ultra large container ships. With minimal dredging and efficient turnaround timings, Vizhinjam offers cheaper and more sustainable services. Additionally, integrated infrastructure like the railway line, national highway links, and logistic zones are designed to create a multimodal supply chain ecosystem. The phased plan envisions increasing capacity from 1 million TEUs to 7.2 million TEUs with advanced automation and digitization at its core. While competing with global giants won't be immediate, Vizhinjam has the foundational advantages of having strategic location, deep draft, modern infrastructure, and growing regional trade to become a major transshipment alternative. With sustained investment, policy support, and geopolitical alignment, Vizhinjam can emerge as South Asia's key maritime gateway within the next decade.
Definitely, sir. It's not just a port, it's a strategic leap towards making India a global transshipment powerhouse. Sir, when can we expect this port to be fully operational and what ripple effects should we anticipate for Indian trade and the economy?
Deepika ji, it was inaugurated on 2nd May by the Prime Minister of India, and the maximum capacity which is planned is 7.2 million TEUs per year, which I said is likely to result in a saving of $220 million annually once it reaches full capacity. It's a strategic location and uh, integrated connectivity with the hinterland along with the multimodal logistic parks. Overall, it can add to the national GDP by at least 0.5%, and that would help achieve a US dollars 1 trillion export targets of India. That is quite a ambitious target.
Vizhinjam seemingly will unlock export led growth and coastal employment as well. Sir, such huge projects are fraught with many types of risks. Please tell us more about risks and mitigation strategy adopt for the same.
Yes, every PPP project has a risk mitigation plan because, like any other business, this PPP project also has large number of risks. The prominent among them in this case has been the financial risk, whereas you see the initial estimated cost was 7,000 plus crores, and now as we estimate at the time of completion it would be about 28,000 crores or so. The viability gap funding is only about 817 crores, which is also in form of loan, and only about 2,100 crores has come as loan with the help of Kerala government and banks led by IDBI. Then we had environmental risk, wherein the port construction activity was delayed for quite some time. There were concerns raised about the dredging which was required for construction activity, that it is disturbing not only the reef rocks but also the maritime life, and also there were fears of erosion, coastal erosion due to the construction of breakwater, which is more than 3 kilometers long. All this resulted into a lot of representation by local communities, and which are rightly termed as social risk, which were very meticulously and with the help of the government of the day addressed, and finally the construction activity could start. Then we had technical and operational risks because the project is of such a uh, scale that it requires not only erection of these huge cranes, but there are a whole lot of automation and technology which goes into it. And there are issues which can come up in erections and maintenance and setting up of these systems. The port also saw the political and regulatory risk in terms of the change of government immediately after the uh, concession agreement was signed. 2016, there was a change in the state government, but because the processes were followed and shortcuts were not there, even the CAG audit, which initially flagged certain concerns, were settled because of the Judicial Commission, which went into deeper details, and nothing adverse was found. So these were the major risks I can flag, and but still we have seen that with the clever maneuvering, and smart navigation, the problems were taken care, and today we have the project running.
Very true, sir. A proactive risk matrix tackled legal, environmental, and operational hurdles from the outset. Lastly, sir, what lessons emerge from the journey so far in the development of this port?
See, I have been mentioning time and again that the location of this port is the biggest gain. That is the biggest advantage, and that is the game changer because it involves zero deviation for any large ship which is sailing on the international east to west shipping lines, and it provides adequate capacity for a quick turnaround. And then we have the format of PPP, where not only the concessionaire has capacity or the option to deploy the best of the technology and managerial skills, but has the flexibility to uh, handle the capacities and the emerging situations in the best possible way, because they always have to be concerned about having best of the profitability as well. So a whole lot of effort has been put in not only for financing the sport, but also to ensure that there is value for people, value for money, and value for future as well. In addition, another lesson which has to be seen here is the environment and social concerns cannot be overlooked. And surely it was a very meticulous and detailed effort due to which all the environment and social concerns were addressed. Then the planning and setting up of multimodal connectivity, especially the railway line and the railway tunnel, is a good lesson to be taken home from this project. Then a team of experts which handle the legal regulatory issues, good interaction, and the policy support by the state government when they set up the judicial commission, which went into detail, and the project could not be delayed further because there were no wrongs found there. So all that is a very good lesson to be taken home from here. Lastly, the phase development is very good for such a big project because you see, initial cost estimates were almost one third or even almost one fourth of the final costing which will happen. So it has to be a detailed planning, a long term vision, and a phased development so that the risk, the construction risk, the operational risk, and the technical risk can be minimized. These are the lessons. Overall, Vizhinjam underscores the importance of balancing technical excellence, environmental stewardship, social inclusion, and transparent governance to deliver world class infrastructure that truly benefits the economy and communities.
Thank you, sir. It's a case study in long term vision, public private synergy, and resilient infrastructure planning. Thank you, Dr. Bana, for such an insightful conversation. Vizhinjam isn't just a port, it's a statement about India's growing maritime ambitions, its ability to build world class infrastructure, and its strategic pivot in global trade. To our listeners, stay tuned because the tides of Indian shipping are changing and Vizhinjam is steering the course. Until next time, I'm Deepika Upadhyay signing off. Namaste.
Namaste.